so here we have the protozoan groups. Ooh, you see that? Protozoan groups. Alright. So we have 4 groups: flagellates, amoebas, ciliates, and apicomplexa. Now we break it down. Yes. Thank you, Stacy. So in the flagellates, we have hemoflagellates and regular flagellates. I guess that's what if you want to call it. So hemoflagellates are the trypanosoma and the leishmania. And then they're like, wee, we're in the blood. So then for the flagellates, let's see, there's Tritrichomonas and then Giardia. That's Giardia, badass right there. We got the trophozoic form, which floats around, does its little thing floating around with the little flagellates. See, I labeled the flagellate. There you go.
Giardia?
So the Tritrichomonas, they unzip themselves because they're cool like that. That's the trophozoic form, where basically it moves around, does that thing, woo. And then it's also known as the falling leaf, blah, blah, blah. So the Giardia actually has the cyst form. That's the cyst, what it looks like. All right. So moving on. Let's go to amoebas. Amoebas, the only one that we really have to know is the Antamoeba histolytica. And then they have pseudopodia, which is, ooh, look, I have false feet. And then there's the cyst form, which Dr. Bidwell calls the cootie shots. As usually it has 4 of them. Most of the time you have to zoom in and out on the microscope in order to see all of them. Then there's the trophozoic form, which you can see that little eye thing. So yeah, there you go, that moves. Those are the action shots of the moving. Yep, there we go. And now we have the ciliates, which is the Blantidium coli. And then there's the cyst form, and that's the trophozoic form, because it moves around using the cilia. Ha! I wonder why it's called the ciliate one. Get it? Ha ha. Alright, so the next one after that is apicomplexa. And apicomplexa, that kind of has a lot in it. So, basically, coccidians have, what do you call it? Coccidians are grouped by size. They're the large ones, small ones, then the smallest, which is Cryptosporidium. But in the large ones, those are the biggest ones that you're going to find, are the Cisospora and the Eimeria. So let's start with Eimeria, because it's right there underneath. So there's the Eimeria bovis, which affects the nervous system. Eimeria leucardi, which is self-limiting. And then you'll find those in large animal, which is why I have the horse head there. That's a horse head if you can't tell. And then the Cystospora is basically that thing. And then it has, what do you call it? That's the unsporulated cyst, so that's just the oocyst. And then that is the, what do you call it, sporulated one. And the sporulated is the infective one! That's why it's in red!
Dun dun dun!
Thank you, Stacy. So you can detect those with acid-fast staining, and most of the time you're born with it. Okay, so then that's in dogs and cats. There we go. And then, let's see, toxoplasma, that's this area right there. So that's the unsporulated one. That's what happens when the cat poops it out. And then it goes in the litter box, and when it's in the litter box and it sits for a while, it turns into the sporulated form, which is bad because it's infective. Then yeah. Thank you. Ubiquitous, that's what it is, when it goes into the environment. All right.
Well, it's naturally in the environment.
Naturally in the environment. As sporulated?
Ubiquitous. It's in the environment, Carrie. You can catch it from gardening.
So going to Dr. Holly. And then there's Bernadette and Stacey. There's Shauna. as our study buddies.
Peanut gallery.
So yes. And toxoplasma sporulated. It can be caught from gardening.
Gardening.
Yes.
You can catch it doing anything outside because a cat shits everywhere.
Excellent input, Dr. Holly. Alright, so for the Sarcocystis, basically there are the 2 forms. There's Neurona and there's Kruse. So then the Neurona, that's the one where you get EPM from. So equine protozoal meningitis. So basically, Sarcocystis is for carnivores only, but when it's in the intermediate host, which varies with each one, and when it's in the intermediate host, it can cause fevers and neurologic problems and whatnot, and it's kind of crazy. So, yes. And then Neurona is for the horse. That's the intermediate host. And then the definitive host for Neurona is the opossum. Then for Kruse, the definitive host is the dog, and the herbivore, like the cow or whatever, is the intermediate host. There we go. Then we've got Neospora, which causes hind limb paresis. So that's a sad dog. That's a very sad dog, because he can't use his legs, back legs. So, and then we have cryptosporidium, which is acid-fast detection. Thank you, Stacy, for that.
Pink.
Yes, so it turns pink. I don't really have a pink marker, but that's pink. And then we've got hemosporidia, which is also in the apicomplexes, and it's in the blood. You have to remember that the mosquito is the vector for it, and malaria is the main one that you have to remember. And then in pyroplasms, which is a tick vector, then babesia is the main one that you have to worry about. And then I think that's about it. Yay, the end.